What if the life you're living right now isn't yours? Not in some grand cosmic sense where the stars dictate your fate, or the gods pull strings behind a velvet curtain. No, I mean something closer. Something you can feel in the weight of your own hands when you wake up each morning. What if every step you take, every breath you draw, every tick of the clock that drags you through your day belongs to someone else's script? You open your eyes to an alarm you didn't choose. Stumble into clothes you wear to fit a role you didn't audition for, and march into a world that demands you play your part without ever asking if the stage even suits you. Have you ever stopped, really stopped, and felt that itch beneath your skin, that faint hum in your chest that doesn't belong to the rhythm of your routine? It's not loud, not yet, but it's there. A whisper you've trained yourself to ignore because the world has taught you that listening to it is dangerous. It's the sound of something wilder, something truer, something that doesn't bend to schedules or kneel to deadlines. But you keep moving, don't you? You keep running because standing still feels like a crime, because silence feels like a void you're too afraid to face. They told you this was how it's supposed to be. From the moment you could understand words, they fed you a story. Study hard, work harder, become someone. But did they ever ask who you wanted to become? Did they ever pause to wonder if the someone they had in mind was a stranger to the person you feel inside? No, they handed you a map with the path already drawn: school, job, success, and promised that if you followed it, you'd arrive at happiness. Except here you are, years later, with your hands full of achievements and your heart empty of meaning, wondering why the finish line keeps moving farther away. You've done everything right. You've ticked the boxes, met the quotas, smiled when you were supposed to, and yet there's this ache, this quiet scream buried beneath your ribs that says, this isn't it. This isn't me. And the worst part? You can't even name it. It's just there. A shadow that follows you through every meeting, every errand, every forced laugh at a joke you didn't find funny. It's the discomfort you feel when you sit alone for too long, when the noise of the world fades and you're left with nothing but yourself. But let's be honest, stopping isn't an option, is it? The moment you slow down, the guilt creeps in. If you're not doing something, you're wasting time. If you're not producing, you're failing. If you're not climbing, you're falling. That's the deal they've sold you. The blackmail they've woven into your bones. Your worth is tied to what you can show for it. Rest is laziness. Joy without purpose is childish. Staring at the rain without a reason is a luxury you haven't earned. And so you keep going, piling tasks on top of tasks, filling every crack of silence with noise, because the alternative, facing that hum, that itch, that scream, feels too big, too raw, too uncontrollable. You've been trained to fear it, to see it as a flaw instead of a signal. But what if I told you that the flaw isn't in you? What if that hum isn't a glitch in your system, but a call from the part of you they've spent your whole life trying to bury? What if the life you're living, the one with the alarms and the deadlines and the endless checklists, isn't your destiny, but a cage they built to keep you tame? Think about it. Since you were a kid, they've told you that work is what makes you human, that productivity is your purpose, that your value lies in what you can give, not in what you can feel. They've turned you into a machine, a beautiful, obedient machine that runs on coffee and ambition, and convinced you that this is freedom. But freedom doesn't feel like exhaustion, does it? Freedom doesn't taste like the bitter knot in your throat when you realize another day has slipped through your fingers, spent on things you don't even care about. Freedom isn't a reward you get after you've paid your dues. It's not a vacation you earn after 50 weeks of grinding. Freedom is the thing they've taught you to fear, the thing they've locked away behind layers of rules and expectations. And every time you feel that ache, that shadow, that whisper, it's not your imagination. It's the key rattling in the door, begging you to turn it. Here's where it gets messy, though. You've been running so long that stopping feels impossible. You've been doing so much that being feels foreign. You've been taught to measure your days in output, emails sent, hours logged, goals crushed. And now the idea of a day without purpose terrifies you. What would you even do? Who would you even be? That's the trick they've played. They've tied your identity to the machine. I am a teacher, you say. I am an engineer. I am a parent. But strip away the titles, the roles, the things you do, and what's left? Nothing. They'd have you believe. You're nothing without the system that defines you. And that's the lie that keeps you chained. Not with iron, not with walls, but with the weight of your own guilt, your own fear of being useless. But what if uselessness isn't the enemy? What if the most human thing you can do is to sit still, to breathe without a goal, to exist without a justification? What if the machine isn't your destiny but your prison, and the only way out is to stop feeding it? So here you are, standing at the edge of the machine, its gears grinding louder every second, its hum drowning out that whisper you've tried so hard to forget. You've spent your life oiling it, feeding it, keeping it running, because what else were you supposed to do? They told you it's your purpose, your pride, the thing that makes you you. But now as the shadow stretches longer and the ache grows sharper, you're starting to wonder, what if the machine doesn't need you? What if it's been running just fine without your soul? And all this time you've been the one trapped inside it. You feel it, don't you? That tug, that pull, that voice saying stop when every muscle in your body screams go. It's not loud yet, but it's persistent. Like water wearing down stone. Like a crack in the wall you can't unsee once it's there. Let's go back for a moment. Picture yourself at 5 years old, sitting in a classroom with crayons scattered across the desk. You weren't drawing to win a prize or impress anyone. You were drawing because the colors felt alive. Because the paper was a world you could spill into without rules. Now, look at you. Every line you draw today has to serve a purpose. Every color has to fit a plan. Every second has to justify itself. When did it change? When did they convince you that joy without a paycheck is a sin? They didn't do it with chains or threats. They did it with promises. Promises of stability, of status, of a life that shines on the outside, even if it rots within. They built a glittering cage around you, and you thank them for the view. And here's the twist. They've made you believe the cage is home. You've decorated it with diplomas, with promotions, with likes on a screen, telling yourself it's enough. But late at night, when the house is quiet and the notifications stop, you hear it again, that hum, that itch, that scream. It's not your imagination. It's the part of you they couldn't tame. The part that doesn't care about your resume or your bank account. It's the part that wants to run barefoot through the scream into the wind, to sit by a river and watch it flow without needing to know where it's going. It wants to feel, it wants to break, it wants to live. Not for someone else, not for a goal, but for itself. And every time you push it down, every time you choose the machine over that wildness, you betray it a little more. But betrayal isn't the end. It's the beginning of the fight. Because that wildness isn't dead. It's just waiting. Waiting for you to notice the cracks. To see that the machine isn't invincible. It's waiting for the moment you realize the gears don't own you. They never did. And here's where it gets real. What if you stopped? Not forever, not dramatically, just for a second. What if you turned off the alarm tomorrow morning and lay there, listening to your own breath instead of the clock? What if you walked outside without a destination, without a podcast in your ears, without a purpose to chase? Would the world end? Would you disappear? Or would something else happen? Something small, something quiet, something that feels like waking up for the first time in years. They'll tell you it's dangerous. They'll say you're reckless, selfish, lost. They'll remind you of bills, of responsibilities, of all the reasons you can't afford to pause. But pause anyway, because the real danger isn't in stopping. It's in never starting to live. The real selfishness isn't in resting. It's in giving your whole self to a system that doesn't even know your name. The machine doesn't care if you're happy. It only cares if you're useful. And you've been useful for so long that you've forgotten what it's like to be alive. But that hum, that scream, that wildness, it remembers. It's been there all along, locked in the basement of your soul, pounding on the door, begging you to let it out. Now listen, don't turn away. Don't scroll past this. Don't tell yourself you'll think about it later. This isn't just a question anymore. It's a spark, a match struck in the dark, a chance to burn down the lies you've been living. You've spent years running from yourself, hiding behind tasks and titles, convincing yourself that busy is the same as whole, but it's not. And deep down you know it. That's why you're still here, still reading, still feeling that twinge in your chest. It's not guilt, it's recognition. It's the part of you that's tired of pretending, tired of performing, tired of being a cog when you were born to be a storm. So what are you going to do? Keep oiling the machine or step out of it, just for a moment, and see what's on the other side? Now listen, don't turn away. Don't scroll past this. Don't tell yourself you'll think about it later. This isn't just a question anymore. It's a spark, a match struck in the dark, a chance to burn down the lies you've been living. You've spent years running from yourself, hiding behind tasks and titles, convincing yourself that busy is the same as whole, but it's not. And deep down you know it. That's why you're still here, still reading, still feeling that twinge in your chest. It's not guilt, it's recognition. It's the part of you that's tired of pretending, tired of performing, tired of being a cog when you were born to be a storm. So what are you going to do? Keep oiling the machine or step out of it, just for a moment, and see what's on the other side? You're still here, aren't you? You didn't step away when I asked you to pause. Didn't close your eyes when the whisper turned into a shout. That means something. That means the machine hasn't won. Not yet, but it's fighting harder now. Clawing at your heels with every second you spend, questioning it. You can feel its weight in the buzz of your phone, in the emails piling up, in the voice that says you can't afford to stop. And maybe you can't. Not in the way they measure affordance, not in dollars or deadlines, or the approving nods of people who don't even see you. But what if affordance isn't about money? What if it's about the one thing you've been starving for years? Yourself? What if the real cost isn't in stepping away from the machine, but in staying inside it, letting it grind you down until there's nothing left to recognize? Let's strip it bare. You've been told your whole life that time is a currency. Spend it wisely. Invest it well. Don't let it slip through your fingers. But who decided that? Who turned your hours into coins and your days into transactions? They did. They took something infinite, something raw, and pressed it into a mold that serves their gears, not your soul. And you bought it. You bought the idea that a day without output is a day wasted, that a moment of stillness is a theft from your future. But here's the truth they don't want you to see. Time isn't theirs to define. It's yours. It's the air you breathe, the blood in your veins, the fire that flickers when you let yourself feel, instead of do. And every time you trade it for their approval, you're not investing, you're surrendering. Now, imagine this. A world where you don't owe anyone your minutes. A world where you wake up and the first thing you hear isn't an alarm, but the sound of your own thoughts, unhurried, unjudged. A world where you walk through the streets not as a worker, not as a role, but as a human, messy, alive, free. It sounds impossible, doesn't it? That's because they've trained you to think freedom is a fantasy, a story for children who haven't learned the rules yet. But what if it's not? What if the rules are the fantasy? The lie they've spun to keep you small? Here's where it shifts. The machine isn't your master. It's a mirage. It only exists as long as you believe in it, as long as you keep pouring your life into its empty promises. And this is the part they fear most, the moment you start to doubt. Because doubt is a crack in the foundation, a spark in the dry grass, a ripple that could turn into a flood. They've spent centuries building this system, convincing you that it's unbreakable, eternal, the natural order of things. But it's not. It's fragile. It's a house of cards held together by your obedience, your exhaustion, your fear of being nothing without it, and all it takes is one breath, one wild, reckless, useless breath to bring it down. So take it right now. Breathe deep. Not because it's productive, not because it's part of a plan, but because you can. Because you're here. Because the machine can't stop you from feeling the air fill your lungs and knowing for once that it's yours. They'll scream when you do it. They'll call it rebellion, laziness, madness. They'll point at the chaos of a life without their structure and say, see, you need us. But look closer. Chaos isn't the enemy. Chaos is the sound of a forest growing wild, the rhythm of waves crashing without a schedule, the beauty of a storm that doesn't ask permission. You were born from chaos, not from a spreadsheet. You were made to dance in it, not to march through it with a clipboard in hand. And the machine, it's terrified of that truth. It's terrified of a you that doesn't need it, a you that finds meaning in the useless, in the excessive, in the raw. That's why it keeps you busy, because a busy mind doesn't have time to dream, and a dreaming mind is a threat to everything it stands for. Don't look away now. Don't you dare. This isn't a pep talk, not a feel-good mantra to get you through the week. This is a mirror held up to your life, a blade pressed against the ropes that tie you down. You've been running so long you've forgotten what it's like to stand still, to feel the ground beneath you instead of racing over it. You've been serving so long you've forgotten what it's like to refuse. But you can refuse. You can stop. Not tomorrow, not next month, not when the bills are paid or the project is done. Right now. Close your eyes for 10 seconds. Count the beats of your heart. Feel the weight of your own existence without apologizing for it. Do it. I'll wait. Because in those 10 seconds, the machine loses. In those 10 seconds, you win. Not a prize, not a promotion, but something bigger. Yourself. So you did it, didn't you? You closed your eyes for those 10 seconds, felt your heart thudding against your ribs. Let the world spin on without your permission. And it didn't collapse. The machine didn't shut down. The sky didn't fall. You're still here, breathing, alive. Maybe more alive than you've been in years. That's the secret they've kept from you all along. You don't need their rules to exist. You don't need their gears to turn, their clocks to tick, their approval to matter. In those 10 seconds, you stole something back, something small, something quiet, something they've spent your whole life convincing you wasn't yours. And now that you've tasted it, now that you've felt the air shift when you stopped running, what are you going to do with it? Because this isn't the end. It's the beginning of everything they're afraid you'll become. They'll try to pull you back, of course. They'll dangle their carrots and swing their sticks. Promises of safety if you comply. Threats of failure if you don't. They'll point to your empty hands and say, "What have you got to show for it?" They'll laugh at your stillness, mock your wildness. Call it a phase you'll outgrow when reality hits. But reality isn't theirs to own. Reality is the dirt under your feet, the wind against your face, the shiver down your spine when you realize you're free. Not tomorrow. Not when you've already seen your You heard it, but right now. You've been waiting for permission your whole life, standing at the gate with your head bowed, asking to be let in. But there's no gate, there's no guard, there's just you, and the only thing holding you back is the story you've been too afraid to stop believing. Here's the final twist. You're not alone in this. All around you there are others, silent, scattered, unseen, who feel the same hum, the same scream, the same ache you do. They're the ones who stare out windows when they should be working, who linger in doorways when they should be rushing, who dream in colors the machine can't name. They're the ones who've heard the whisper too, who've felt the crack widen, who've dared to wonder if there's more than this. And every time you choose yourself over the system, every time you waste a minute without guilt, you light a spark for them too. You become a signal, a flare in the dark, a proof that the machine doesn't own us all. Not yet, not entirely. That's the power they can't take away. The power to wake up, to walk away, to be human in a world that's forgotten what it means. But don't think this is easy. Freedom isn't a gift handed to you on a silver platter. It's a fight you choose every day. It's the weight of saying no when everyone says yes, the ache of standing still when the crowd keeps moving, the terror of facing yourself when the noise dies down. It's not comfortable, it's not neat, it's not a straight line from here to happiness. It's a mess, a beautiful, chaotic, living mess, and that's what makes it yours. Because the machine wants you polished, predictable, productive. It wants you to fit, but you don't fit. You never did. You're too loud, too quiet, too much, too little. All the things it can't measure, all the things it can't control. And that's not a flaw. It's a fire. It's the flame they've tried to snuff out since the day you were born. The one that's been smoldering under the ashes of their expectations, waiting for you to fan it into a blaze. So here's your challenge. Not a task to complete, not a goal to check off, but a dare to live. Go outside today. Leave your phone behind. Walk until you forget where you're going. Sit on the ground and watch the clouds drift without naming them. Laugh at nothing. Cry if you feel it. Do it not because it's useful, not because it's smart, but because it's you, raw, unscripted, alive. And when they ask why, when they demand an explanation, don't give them one. Don't justify it. Don't defend it. Just look at them and smile. Because you don't owe them your soul anymore. You never did. This is where it ends, or begins, depending on you. The machine will keep grinding, the world will keep spinning. But you get to choose. You get to stop. You get to feel. And in that choice, in that useless, glorious moment of being, you'll find what they've hidden from you all along. Yourself. Now turn this off. Walk away. Don't look back. Sit in silence for 5 minutes. 5 minutes where you don't serve, don't produce, don't explain. Feel the weight lift, the hum soften, the scream fade into something softer, something truer. You're not here to fit their mold. You're here to break it. And if you dare, if you really dare, you'll never see your days the same way again. Because you're not a cog, not a tool, not a number. You're a storm, a song, a breath. And the world, it can wait.